Ready for another deep dive? This time, we're tackling the enigma that is Elon Musk, but not the one you see on Twitter.
Oh, right. Going deeper.
Yeah, we're going back to his childhood to see if those early years hold the key to understanding the man he is today.
That's fascinating. I mean, where do you even begin with someone like Elon Musk?
Well, we're starting with Walter Isaacson's new biography. It's packed with details,
So it's like we're getting a glimpse into his world firsthand.
exactly. Think of it as our quest to figure out what made Elon, well, Elon.
I'm really interested in the family dynamics. You've got this legacy of adventure, but also some really complicated relationships.
Yeah, talk about a paradox, right? His grandfather, on his mom's side, he actually flew the whole family across the Kalahari Desert.
Wow.
In a plane, he rebuilt himself. I mean, come on. That's a serious thirst for risk.
It makes you wonder, is that something that's just in Elon's DNA? Or did growing up around that kind of boldness just rub off on him?
And hold on, it gets even better. His dad actually claims to have named him after a character in a science fiction book.
Really?
Yeah. And this character, get this, ran a Mars colony.
You can't make this stuff up.
It's wild to think about, right? Like, even if it's just a good story, the power of those early narratives shaping his worldview.
Absolutely. But it wasn't all, daring feats and grand adventures. Elon was, by all accounts, a pretty lonely kid. He had a hard time making friends.
There are stories about him crying, like a lot. It's kind of heartbreaking when you think about it.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes you wonder how that shaped him, right?
Sure.
Was his ambition, that drive to accomplish these incredible things, was it partly fueled by this need to connect, to never feel that isolated again?
That's a really compelling theory. I mean, think about it. Loneliness can be a huge motivator.
And then to add to that, you've got his parents' divorce when he was just 8 years old.
Oh, yeah. And a really difficult relationship with his father, by many accounts.
Yeah, difficult might be an understatement. From what Isaacson describes, his dad was emotionally abusive and just not around very much.
Right.
Not exactly the ideal recipe for a happy childhood.
No, not at all. And, those kinds of turbulent family dynamics can be so formative.
For sure.
Sometimes that need to prove yourself, that drive to escape a difficult situation, it can be the fuel behind these incredible ambitions.
It makes you think about that whole nature versus nurture debate. How much of who we are is predetermined and how much is shaped by these experiences.
It's so complex.
Yeah, it's fascinating to think about. But we can't forget about the role of technology in all of this, especially for Elon. His first trip to America, when he was about 9, he discovered video games.
Yeah, and he was instantly hooked.
He wasn't just playing them, though. He was hacking them,
What?
figuring out ways to play for free. It reminds me of that Steve Jobs quote, "The best way to predict the future is to invent it." Even as a kid, Elon was already shaping his world.
That's a really good point. It's not just about the games themselves, right? It's that inherent drive to understand how things work, to bend systems to his will.
Yeah, and that's a recurring theme throughout his life. Don't forget, he even tried to start a video game arcade with his cousins as a teenager. That entrepreneurial spirit was already there.
Absolutely.
And he was a voracious reader, too. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy was a huge influence on him, sparking his interest in space travel and the whole concept of preserving human consciousness.
Yeah.
He didn't just read for fun. He was grappling with these big existential questions.
Right, right. It wasn't just escapism for him. He used those books to fuel his imagination and really develop his own worldview, his own sense of what's possible.
And then, at 17, he makes this huge decision. He moves to Canada, all by himself.
No.
Lives in a youth hostel, rides Greyhound buses across the country, works as a farmhand. It was a real test of his independence and resilience.
It was a crucial move for him, wasn't it? I mean, it forced him to adapt, to hustle, to rely on his own resourcefulness. And those are traits that, honestly, have really defined his career. That ability to just navigate unfamiliar territory and thrive in chaos.
Pretty remarkable. He eventually reunites with his family in Toronto. But even then, he's still that kind of bookish, somewhat awkward kid, always trailing behind his sister and her friends with a book in hand.
Can you imagine being that kid? Always questioning everything, always a little bit different.
That's hard to imagine, right?
It's easy to draw a line from that experience to his later success, though, don't you think?
Maybe.
Maybe that social discomfort fueled his drive to create, to build, to find his own tribe in a way. It's like maybe that's why he's trying to colonize Mars.
To build a world where people like him can belong.
Yeah, it's a thought-provoking connection.
It really makes you think about how much those early experiences, even the painful ones, shape who we become. It's like the foundation of a building. You might not see it, but it's what everything else is built upon.
It's definitely a theme worth exploring as we delve deeper into his life. The seeds of his ambition, his drive to push boundaries, his discomfort with the status quo, it all seems to go back to those early years.
Right. So we're seeing that even as a teenager, with all those challenges, the blueprint for his future was already kind of forming.
Yeah.
Like those early passions, they really crystallized into a vision when he got to university.
His time at Penn was pretty remarkable. It wasn't just going through the motions. He was laser focused on those areas that, looking back, you can see defined his career.
Exactly.
Space travel, sustainable energy, the future of tech, it's all there.
He even co-wrote a business plan for an electric car company with another student
Wow.
back in 1995. Talk about being ahead of the curve.
Seriously, ahead of his time.
And it wasn't just some, like, theoretical exercise. He really believed in sustainable energy.
Oh, yeah.
That conviction, it's driven him for decades.
It's true. He had this almost prophetic understanding of the challenges facing the planet, even as a young man. And for him, it wasn't just about business. It was about this idea that technology could solve humanity's biggest problems.
But let's be real, it wasn't just about noble goals.
Hmm.
This guy's got a seriously competitive side.
Oh, yeah.
Isaacson talks about all those all-nighters fueled by pizza and Diet Coke. And
Oh, yeah.
he wasn't just studying, he was obsessed with solving these complex problems, always pushing himself to the limit.
That drive, that work ethic, it's almost superhuman. It became like a defining part of his leadership style.
For sure.
Inspiring and kind of intimidating, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. Like, he operates on a whole other level when it comes to focus and determination.
Yeah.
But even with that drive, he wasn't afraid to take risks. Remember, he went to Stanford for a PhD.
Material science.
Right. And dropped out after just 2 days.
That was such a pivotal moment. He basically walked away from the traditional path, betting everything on his own gut feeling and those entrepreneurial instincts.
It was a gamble,
Oh, a huge one.
but it paid off.
Big time.
He saw the internet exploding and knew he had to be part of it. So, co-found Zip2, a company that made online city guide software for newspapers.
Like Google Maps before Google Maps.
Right. It wasn't just luck, though. He had this incredible ability to spot emerging trends, to seize those opportunities. He wasn't content to just follow. He wanted to lead, to disrupt, to rewrite the rules of the game.
Absolutely.
And of course, his brother, Kimball, was right there with him,
Always.
that loyal partner in crime. But those sibling dynamics, they continue to play out. They had these legendary arguments.
Right.
Even a physical fight that ended with Elon needing stitches.
Wow, that's intense. But I guess it says something about their relationship, that
Yeah.
classic sibling rivalry, but amplified by the crazy world of Silicon Valley startups.
Despite all the drama, they made it work. Zip2 sold for, get this, $307 million.
Wow.
Elon's share was $22 million. Not bad for a college dropout.
Not bad at all.
But he wasn't done. He took that money and co-founded X.com, an online financial services company.
And that's where his vision for a truly revolutionary financial platform starts to take shape, right?
Yeah.
X.com eventually becomes PayPal, changing the way we handle money online forever. It was disruptive, it was daring, and ultimately it was a massive success.
As CEO of X.com, though, Elon's leadership style, well, it wasn't always smooth sailing.
Oh, I can imagine.
He was known for being super demanding, clashing with colleagues, having a very strong, almost uncompromising vision.
It's a fascinating case study in leadership, right? His drive and that unwavering belief, they were huge assets.
Yeah.
But that difficulty sharing control, collaborating, it would lead to conflicts throughout his career.
For sure.
Makes you think, can you really change the world without ruffling a few feathers along the way?
It's a good question.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, he got results. X.com merged with Confinity to form PayPal.
And the rest is history.
eBay buys PayPal for $1.5 billion in 2002, and Elon walks away with $180 million. He's a Silicon Valley superstar at this point. Proven he can build groundbreaking companies, not just once, but twice. But instead of, kicking back and enjoying his fortune, he decides to pour his energy and resources into something totally unexpected.
What's that?
building rockets.
Building
Yeah,
rockets.
he founded SpaceX with this incredibly ambitious goal,
What goal?
making humanity a multiplanetary species.
Wow.
This wasn't just some rich guy's hobby.
No.
This was a deeply held belief that our future lies beyond Earth.
It's like all his experiences, his childhood fascination with space, the entrepreneurial successes, it all led up to this moment.
It really does.
The culmination of his drive, ambition, that unwavering belief in technology to reshape our destiny.
And he wasn't just writing checks. He was in the trenches, learning everything about rocket science, meeting with experts, even traveling to Russia
What to do what in Russia?
to try to buy refurbished intercontinental ballistic missiles.
Wow.
Talk about a hands-on approach.
It wasn't just delegation, it was obsession.
Total obsession. He wanted to understand every single detail, every challenge, every potential breakthrough.
That dedication to mastering space travel, it really became a hallmark of SpaceX's success.
Yeah. And remember, all of this was happening at the same time he's launching Tesla.
Oh, right.
He's juggling two companies, both pushing the boundaries of technology,
Right.
both facing huge obstacles.
It's mind-boggling, the sheer scale of his ambition to manage those complex things at the same time.
I know.
It speaks to a level of energy and focus that, honestly, few people have.
Yeah,
It makes you ask, what drives a person to push themselves that hard?
it really does. It's like he's propelled by some kind of internal force, this insatiable need to achieve the impossible. Makes you wonder, is it purely about innovation? Or is there something deeper, something more personal fueling this relentless pursuit?
Yeah, it makes you wonder if it's like a fear of humanity's limitations.
Yeah.
Like if we don't push beyond our comfort zone, our potential is just wasted. That's a really interesting thought. Maybe it's not just about reaching Mars. Maybe it's about transcending our current state, evolving into something, I don't know, more resilient, more adaptable.
And that drive to transcend limitations, it goes way beyond space travel. In 2016, he founded Neuralink, a company working on brain-machine interfaces.
Whoa. Okay, now we're talking about like chips implanted in the brain to potentially help people with paralysis, blindness.
All kinds of neurological conditions.
This is where science fiction starts to become reality, isn't it? I mean, the potential to restore lost function, to actually merge human consciousness with technology.
Yeah,
It's exhilarating and a little bit unsettling, to be honest.
I know, right? It raises these huge ethical questions about what it even means to be human.
Yeah, definitely.
It really pushes the boundaries of what we can even imagine.
Yeah.
And then there's the Boring Company. Remember all those Twitter rants about traffic?
Oh, yeah.
Well, instead of just complaining, Elon's solution was to start digging tunnels.
That's such a classic Elon move, isn't it? Identify a problem, no matter how impossible it seems, and just find a bold, totally unconventional solution.
He's got this vision of a network of underground tunnels, high-speed transportation, using electric pods to move people across cities in, like, minutes.
The Hyperloop, right. It still sounds like something out of the future, but he's actually built test tunnels. He's made some actual progress.
It's that unwavering belief that technology can solve any problem.
We're only limited by our imagination, I guess.
Exactly. And, of course, we can't forget about his acquisition of Twitter, dropping $44 billion on a social media platform.
That was a bold move.
Even for Elon.
Yeah. He said he wanted to protect free speech, turned into this everything app.
Right. It was definitely controversial.
Oh, to say the least.
There were all these debates about censorship, about misinformation, about whether one person should have that much control over, a global communication platform.
Huge debates.
He definitely shook things up, though. Fired executives, laid off thousands of employees, made big changes to the algorithms and policies. Whether you agree with his methods or not, he disrupted the status quo.
There's no question about that. He thrives on chaos, on shaking things up, forcing people to confront these uncomfortable truths.
I think you're right. It's a double-edged sword, though, right? He's accomplished incredible things, but he's also created a lot of controversy along the way.
It's that constant tension between ambition and consequence. That's what makes him such a fascinating, compelling figure.
Nobly. He's a visionary, an innovator, but he's also a disruptor, a provocateur. It's really hard to put him in a box, to categorize him.
And maybe that's the point. He defies categorization. He's making us rethink all these assumptions about what's possible, the role of technology, even the future of humanity itself.
So we've gone from this childhood marked by, loneliness and this thirst for knowledge, through his crazy rise in Silicon Valley, to him being one of the most influential figures of our time. Building rockets, digging tunnels, merging minds with machines. It's a lot.
It is. What's the thread connecting it all, though?
I think it's that restless spirit, that never-ending pursuit of something bigger than himself. Like he's on this mission to solve the biggest puzzle there is, to unlock the secrets of the universe, to make sure humanity has a future, not just on Earth, but like out there among the stars.
So that early drive to escape that loneliness, to connect, but like on a cosmic scale, could that be the thing behind Elon Musk's crazy ambition?
It's a question worth thinking about. Maybe it's the key to understanding one of the most complex and fascinating minds of our time. What do you think? What drives Elon Musk? Pure ambition, fear of what we're capable of, a need to connect on this, like grand scale. Share your thoughts with us on social media. And join us next time as we keep exploring the world of innovation, technology, and the people shaping our future.